They stole $100 million in midair and lost it. Now, to get it back,
Recognize these locations?
they'll make one man a hostage
You're not going after him.
Which ones have I got?
and the other a moving target. Cliffhanger, rated R. Starts Friday, May 28th at a theater near you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cinema Arcade. This is the podcast about movies, video games, and the sparks that fly when those worlds collide. My name is Steve Guntley, and I'm not trying to keep you in suspense, but we are talking about Cliffhanger, a 1993 action movie starring our secret
Jesus
patron.
Christ!
Yeah, too soon. Yeah. Were you a little traumatized by the opening of this movie?
No, I just didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Right off the bat.
That's the kind of I think that's the kind of mood we're in
This movie
today.
is famous for.
Yeah, that's the famous moment. Yeah. But yes, we're talking about Cliffhanger. And who else is joining us here, as usual?
I am a non-mountain climber. There was a time when I was a teenager that I was obsessed with reading mountain climbing books, and they all just really made me know I was never gonna climb a mountain.
I'm with you. I'm never
I'll
gonna do it.
I'll walk up a mountain. Like I'll do Mount Fuji someday, maybe Mount Kilimanjaro. But I definitely need a hike or walk up a mountain. Nothing with crampons or anything like that. I read so many disaster books. Like it was just like made me think that like there is nothing worse in the world you could do than be a mountain climber.
Sounds terrifying. Yeah, sounds insane. And who else is joining us here?
Hi, I am afraid of heights and never wanted to mountain climb.
Yeah.
But I am also very afraid of, I also am like very aware of how much I would probably fucking die if I tried.
Yeah.
But you do roller coasters.
Well, I love roller coasters. And I've hiked a mountain. So I've been on a peak, but I did almost slide down a cliff.
Oh.
I
was triggering.
No, honestly, I was walking with my group, and I like twisted my ankle, or like rolled my ankle and went down, and then slid, and it was a kind of graduated down to the cliff. And like right as I was getting to the point of no return, I grabbed like a tiny dying tree, and it held on, and my crew pulled me up. I was like, oh shit. That was
danger.
I wouldn't have died, but I would have probably broken some bones.
Yeah, I had a similar experience on a hike as a kid.
I think I was 4 days out from camp.
Oof.
Because this was on the mountain hike. So yeah, it would have been
Helicopter
an
time.
ordeal. Yeah, it probably would have been. There was I don't think there were roads anywhere up there. There were like
You would need
staffed camps, but I think they just had radios. I don't think they had any way.
Sylvester Stallone to come and rescue you.
Exactly.
No, Sylvester
He would need to
Stallone
drive
can't
up
pilot
in
a
his Jeep.
helicopter.
Well, but he could drive a Jeep and he can climb.
He can climb. And that's what his job is. It's to rescue.
Oh yeah, because
hikers.
there was not a path down there, so it would have been people would have had to have found a way, probably gone backtracked a ways, and then came
Do
through.
you think that being someone who rescues people, and imagine you get I'm contributing to society, I'm rescuing people, but if those people are all stupid, like would you like
what?
No, if you're just constantly rescuing dumb people who are getting themselves into stupid situations,
Well, I mean, you're casting judgment there. I mean, like, I would say personally, for me, it would be dumb to climb a mountain at all. It seems insane to me, but I'm not here to cast judgment on anybody for that. I mean, that just sounds, to me, that sounds terrible. To some people, it sounds completely thrilling.
Also, I don't know. I wasn't paying enough attention to know where this takes place at. But
Rocky Mountains.
They seem to imply that there is just a shit ton of people climbing.
Yeah.
And that they do this all the time.
There are definitely. I'm from Colorado. We have a big mountain climbing community up there, and
Okay.
there are definitely climbing bums and ski bums who will just sort of like live together in these little winter towns that pop up, and just kind of like it is a tight community of like
Okay.
pretty diverse and extreme personality types. So like that rung true to me. There's some other stuff in this movie that I would say is maybe less accurate.
Well, I think the most fascinating backstory would be Sylvester Stallone moving from New York City or Philadelphia to to the Rocky Mountains and becoming a rescue. Like that is a fascinating story.
Well,
we'll say this
it's
off the
because
bat,
it's because they're called it's Rocky.
He's
Rocky went to Rocky.
He's Rocky. Yeah, he's very Rocky in this. I will say this off the bat. I don't think... Look, Stallone is in great shape in this movie, obviously. I don't think this is a climber's physique. He's very heavy. I think a climber needs to be kind of like lithe. It's like Alex Honnold, from the Free Solo documentary, who recently climbed that tower.
Han Solo?
He's lean and he's light and he's kind of squirrely. That's sort of what you want in a climber.
I will officially say I don't know. I have no idea. I do know that most of the people I know who climb are lithe people.
Yeah, exactly.
Are not. You wouldn't put them in a heavyweight category in a boxing match.
It's just a matter of like the weight distribution and like what you can handle. Either way, we're talking about Cliffhanger. This is a incredibly silly popcorn movie from the early 90s that I have a great deal of affection for. I think it has so much stuff working in its favor. I recognize how very, very dumb it is. But I always have a good time with this movie. What was everyone else's experience with this? Is this a first time watch for both of you?
No, I watched it as a child.
Okay,
I watched
perfect.
it. I remember watching it as a tiny child. Whilst my dad was watching, it's like, just let me enjoy a movie. And this movie, I was like,
Violent ass movie for a child. Yeah, I think I saw it
I
pretty
don't
young
think it's
too.
that violent.
A guy gets
I don't think it's
impaled
that
on a
bad. And
stalagmite.
there's no nudity, which I'm really surprised off on a Stallone.
It's so cold. When would they get naked? They're at the top of the Rocky Mountains. They're wearing parkas.
Well, they'd just
This
be
was
pointy.
the early 90s. They were like any excuse to put a boob in.
And
I
I'm
mean-
down for that.
It would be distracting, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it would be. I would be thinking about how cold it is. But yeah, either way,
No, but the woman stays fully clothed the whole time.
good. It's cold.
Unlike Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Yes, and he demonstrates how cold he is. It's a terrible idea. Justin, was this one new for you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Had you heard of this before? Were you familiar with its legacy, but what little it may have?
I genuinely don't think I'd heard of it.
Well, it's fun for me. Okay, so Sylvester Stallone is secretly going to be kind of like the patron saint of our show because I think we are playing more Sylvester Stallone movies than any other actor. I think he actually beats John Goodman. So he's going to be coming up a lot for us.
Yeah, because there's so many that we haven't gotten to.
And I'm always fascinated by like actor career arcs, and especially when you were like as big as Stallone was at his peak, which arguably I think this is his peak. I think this is the last like unambiguous hit that he would have as a leading man.
I think this is him on the way out.
It is, and it's this movie like was a success, but it was also wildly expensive.
But this was before Demolition Man, right?
It was. Demolition Man came out later this year, and that movie did okay, but it was looked at as a little bit of a disappointment.
Demolition Man is so much better than Cliffhanger.
Demolition Man rules, to be clear, but financially, I'm saying like, and then after that, it's like The Specialist and Judge Dredd and a bunch of other movies that are just massive bombs, and he kind of never really gets it back. So this is sort of the end of peak Stallone, and that's appropriate that
I
we
don't know.
use
Where
that word.
how are the Expendables movies? Was he in those?
He was. That was a little bit of a resurgence, but those movies were not like they were looked at as like pretty good, trashy fun.
Yeah.
And they made money, but they were like not prestige, and they're not like anything that anybody's really paying attention to unless you're super into like action movies. So like it was
Though
a little bit of a bump, but it
They
wasn't
started
like a
out
full bump.
Pretty successful.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Absolutely. But let's learn a little bit about Cliffhanger, which was released May 28th, 1993, directed by Rennie Harlin, written by Michael France and Sylvester Stallone, and starring Sylvester Stallone, Michael Rooker, Janine Turner, Rex Lynn, Caroline Goodall, Leon, Paul Winfield, Ralph Wade, Max Perlich, and John Lithgow. This is a classic example of a very, very popular trend in action movies of the late 80s and early 90s, which is Die Hard on a blank. In this case, this is Die Hard on a mountain. But yes, let's talk a little bit about Stallone and kind of where he's at in his point, because he's really the driving force behind all of this. In the early 90s, he's pretty much at the peak of his powers, but he just had a couple of back-to-back costly flops, both comedies. One was called Oscar, which is like a kind of a broad slapstick movie set in the 1930s. Doesn't exist. And the other is called Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, which is a wacky cop comedy.
I remember really enjoying that as a
6-7-year-old. It is. I mean,
6-7.
I haven't seen it since then, but I remember seeing it at like age 10 and thinking like, you know what, I'm a little mature for this. Like, it's so wildly stupid. He partners up with his mom to solve crimes.
Fully unrelated, but I was just going down a Small Expendables rabbit hole.
Uh-huh.
Jason Statham's almost 60.
Yeah, looking
That's
good.
fucking
Looking
wild.
good.
He barely looks 50.
It's true.
Incredible.
You know who looks great? Jennifer Connelly.
Always.
Okay, hold on. I have to look up
Eternally.
Jennifer Connelly.
Just my all-time crush. I'm like, then, now, what, forever.
Maybe she should be the patron saint of our podcast.
Okay.
She'd be a better one, but we don't really have many of her Jennifer Connelly games.
Are we going to do the Labyrinth?
Yeah, we'll do Labyrinth. Yeah, we'll do Labyrinth.
still haven't seen Labyrinth.
We'll do the Rocketeer. That's her.
That
That was so formative for me.
so good.
Top Gun Maverick?
Top Gun Maverick. Oh, she looks so good. Anyway, Stallone.
now this podcast is just like, who looks good?
Yeah. Look, this one's going to be loose and slappy because it's a silly movie.
John Lithgow looks good.
Okay.
Tony Award winner.
You just like that he's tall. That's it. He's 7'8".
He is 7 feet 8.
Yeah.
Is he really?
He's
No,
cool.
he's 6'4", I think.
He's quite tall.
Okay.
Yeah. But either way,
Say.
Stallone, he'd been trying to change gears with these comedies, but they weren't really working. So he pulled out of another comedy movie he had signed on, which was a buddy cop movie with John Candy. And he started shopping for a new project. He signed on for this massively expensive monster movie called Isobar, which is about a killer monster rampaging through a bullet train. But creative and financial disputes led to that being canceled. And then he signed on to do a movie called Gale Force. This is a bank heist movie set in the middle of a hurricane. And the movie was being produced by a studio called Carolco, and it was going to be directed by a newly minted blockbuster director, Rennie Harlin, who will be popping up regularly on our show. We talked about him a little bit because he's the director of Die Hard 2, and then a couple years after this, he will helm still one of the biggest flops of all time, which we talked about on this show, Cutthroat Island. So this is that guy. At this point in the 90s, he was pretty much the king of Hollywood. He was attached to dozens of projects. He was married to Gina Davis. Like, things were looking up for Rennie Harlin, and Cliffhanger was going to be his biggest project to date. But first, or Gale Force, rather. But Gale Force is well underway. He was looking to be an even more expensive and complicated movie than Isobar, and after several months, it became clear wasn't going to work. The special effects were proving to be prohibitively expensive. The script had major issues.
You're telling me they didn't get a real hurricane?
They didn't get a real... Look, the hurricane wanted scale plus, and they just weren't willing to pay for it. This is wild.
Should have went for a non-union hurricane.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to go with scabs. But here's the wild thing. Originally, they were trying to do rewrites of this movie Gale Force, which, again, as a reminder, is a bank heist movie set in a hurricane. Joe Esterhaus came in to do a rewrite. If you don't know him, he's the guy who did Basic Instinct and Showgirls, and he was going to turn it into an erotic thriller. That's how fucked up that script was.
So basically, they just watched Too Much Key Largo. Is that the movie?
I guess.
With Lauren Bacall and
Bogart,
Bogey.
yeah.
And they're just like, you know what this needs?
A bank heist.
A bank heist.
And let's make it horny.
Well, that movie is really horny.
Yeah. Oh, but it will make it more explicitly 90s horny.
But it was easy to shoot in a hurricane if you're just inside a building.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But eventually they just scrapped that entire project, and pretty much the entire creative team of that movie just shifted over to another project called Cliffhanger. So instead of Die Hard during a hurricane, it was going to be Die Hard on a mountain. Now, Kuroko had abandoned that movie because it's $40 million
What's
budget.
your favorite Die Hard Anna?
Oh, my favorite Die Hard Anna is
Favorite what?
Die Hard Anna.
I'm gonna say Air Force One,
Ooh.
which is Die Hard on Air Force One.
Yeah, I have to say that's pretty.
I like that one. Under Siege is a good Die Hard on a boat.
I like.
Oh,
I do like
I
Speed.
see.
Oh, you know what? No,
saying.
my answer is
Speed.
Speed. My answer is Speed.
Die Hard on a
Die
Die
bus.
Hard on a bus. It is Speed. That movie is perfect. Speed's incredible. Yeah. No,
Did
that's
they
mine.
make
Will
a
we
s-
be doing Speed?
No,
I was
but
about
have
to
some
ask
Speed
that.
if you want to do some Speed. Yeah, I mean, we don't usually do that on this show, but we can.
They absolutely should have made a Speed game.
They should have made a Speed video game. That's wild.
It should just be Crazy Taxi.
I was gonna say that.
Crazy Taxi.
Oh my
Which
god.
is coming back. By the way.
Yeah.
I just saw that. today. Yeah. Oh my god. All right. So more about the production of this movie. It was going to that movie that they abandoned, Gale Force. It was going to cost $40 million. That they considered that too expensive. This movie would end up coming in at $80 million. So whoops. And Kuroko, if you don't know that company, it's because they went under in 1995, massive bankruptcy. But a lot of the reason they went broke was this movie and financing a little film called Terminator 2 Judgment Day, which is a pretty expensive movie.
Okay,
and it's also amazing.
I just thought of my favorite Die Hard Anna.
What is it?
Die Hard on a Prison.
a little
The Rock.
Yeah, that's Die Hard on a Prison. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm gonna pause
Yeah.
for a minute. Okay, so this is an important what's the word? Thematic and philosophical question.
Okay.
Do you believe that indie films should be obligated to pay their crew back end when they're a massive success?
You're talking about the Obsession.
I am
thing.
talking
Yeah.
about the Obsession
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Because I really feel like they deserve back end. Or
Yeah.
at least
Most productions do. They do build that in, but sometimes for like a micro production like the Obsession, where like I don't think anyone expected it to do exactly what it did. I don't think they had that built into the contracts, but a lot of things do. This was a lawsuit a couple of years ago. I brought on by Randy Quaid over Brokeback Mountain, because he said he signed on for that thinking it was a tiny little indie production and he took less money than he would, and then that movie made over $100 million and was nominated for all of these Oscars. So he sued the studio for back end profits on that. So it's a
was
thing.
he successful?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of
But maybe it's a settled out of court thing. I don't remember.
I think that should be part of anything that could make money, right? Like if
Yeah.
it's anything at like a small scale and everybody's basically making peanuts out of it, that should just be how you do it.
Well, after all, P. Terry's, a local Austin institution, is now becoming employee owned. Did you read about that?
No.
Yeah.
They're
No, I
they're
didn't. That's
starting
pretty
off
cool.
with 1 to 5%. That's probably going to go up to 20% of back end for their employees.
Wow. Pretty cool.
Everything just points to that guy being
Yeah.
such a fucking solid person.
Yes.
Anyway.
Eat Terry's, one of the few shops that has vegetarian burgers.
And they're like $3 burgers.
And
Yeah.
I've heard they're pretty good vegetarian.
But they're very
burgers.
good. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a vegetarian, but I try to eat vegetarian a couple of days a week, and it's really delicious. Like they're really, really good.
That was also just I have to point out, for the purposes of our show, the absolute wildest out of nowhere detour that maybe we've ever had this show. I'm in the middle of giving like the history of this movie.
She said P. Terry's, and I was like, "Where
You
is this going?"
ADHD'd so hard that you just like snap back to talking about like union rights and then local burger joints.
Which I will
I
say,
just have to. That was world class like squirrel action there. I just had to point it out.
my favorite burger place is always and will be always Dan's. However, P. Terry's is such a fucking solid burger.
And now Justin's like, hold my beer. I'm going to take it off in
Well,
another direction.
I'm gonna bring it back
We're gonna
because
rank
like one of the
locals.
reasons. So Obsessions made $250 million. Cliffhanger made $250 million.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
I brought it back.
You brought it back.
I wonder
Brought
how
it
much
back.
money Shortstop makes.
$250 million.
I don't think Shortstop makes $250
Probably
million.
not. This
I've never had a
secretly-
shortstop burger.
Nor
See, you're,
have I.
you're letting us go.
Honestly, when I moved to Austin, I thought they were good, and then I had it again recently, and I'm like, this might be kind of cafeteria grade burgers.
Wow. All right. Shots fired. Anyway, Cliffhanger,
But they're
the
cheap.
movie. The script was written by a guy named Michael France, but Stallone came in and basically rewrote the entire movie, and so he has a writing credit on this. As you might expect.
Was that just kind of a thing that Stallone liked doing?
Stallone is famously an asshole, and he's a major control freak, and he likes to just like he's very protective of his
like image,
movie star image. Yeah, exactly. So he writes his movies to like cater to the image that he was trying to cultivate.
It's a combination. He's both a good writer,
yeah,
because he wrote Rocky,
yeah,
and like. In some really interesting, like, it's not Staying Alive. It's
no, it is Staying Alive. Yeah, the sequel to Saturday Night Fever.
Didn't he write Saturday Night Fever as well?
No, he didn't. But he wrote and directed the sequel, which is the oiliest movie ever made. Everyone is so oily in that movie.
But he also is famously like you do wonder what he does write because he's been so like. Weird about trying to put his name on stuff that he didn't write. Like I think he tried to put his name on the Cobra book.
Yeah, weirdly, like and Cobra was so he was trying. Cobra only exists because they originally wrote the movie Beverly Hills Cop for Stallone, and he didn't like the script and he wanted something a little more violent and a little more hard edged. So he basically came up with the idea for Cobra, built off of that original Beverly Hills Cop script, and then Eddie Murphy took Beverly Hills Cop. And did way better.
Was it Rambo that he said that he wanted his name on the book?
I think it was both. I think it was both. I might be wrong. But either way, like, this is very common for Stallone to do. As you might expect, filming this movie was very complicated. As you might expect, filming this movie was very complicated because it is largely mountain climbing footage, and that's really difficult. Now, the Italian Dolomites are standing in for the Rocky Mountains, so as a former resident of Colorado, these are not the fucking Rocky Mountains. These are the most European-ass-looking mountains you've ever seen in your life.
I've only seen mountains in New Mexico, so I don't know what the difference is.
I think the Rockies are a little bit too big to film a movie. Like
they're vast.
They're vast and they're dangerous and they're like the Dolomites are. I have a picture of the Dolomites on my work background.
They're remote.
They're very pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. This movie has some pretty incredible and very dangerous stunt work, including a stunt that still holds the Guinness World Record for the most expensive stunt ever filmed. Stuntman Simon Crane, he received $1 million for ziplining between two airplanes 15,000 feet in the air. That was real. That was a real guy doing that. They were trying to get somebody to do it. He was the only one who volunteered. He made $1 million off of that. It's a fucking incredible
They were
stunt.
like, look, Air Force One was dope as fuck. We got to do it.
That was 4 years later. That was 4 years after.
Wait,
yeah.
this was pre-Air Force One?
Air Force One. They got that from like that kind of
Cliffhanger walked so Air Force One could run?
I'm telling you, it's an unbelievable stunt. It's so impressive. And like all the mountain climbing stunts in this are amazing.
God, I'm going to go watch Air Force One
would not
after
insure this movie. If I was like a
it's
movie
crazy.
insurer, I'd be like, fuck you, you're doing that in real life. Like,
ironically, one of the stunt doubles that Stallone was using died, but not in the filming of this movie.
Accident.
He was in a car accident, just
one of
completely unrelated.
The climbing doubles.
Yeah, one of his climbing. Yeah, so Stallone, terrified of heights. You would think he would not want to take on this part. So he had a couple of climbing doubles that, and that's a very specific body type to be climbing like that, not to harp on it. Now, to play the villain in this movie, Rennie Harlan originally wanted David Bowie, which would have been so fun, but John Lithgow is having a really good time in this. His British accent is very silly, but he is chomping on the scenery. It's very goofy. And then this is also a good showcase for young Michael Rooker. He had just broken out in a controversial movie called Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Have you seen that one, J-Van?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
It's intense. It's really good. It was actually shot in 1986, and nobody wanted to touch it because it's so unsettling. So it didn't get released until 1990, and so he was starting to get a little heat around this time off of that.
You know that saying of like, oh God, I don't know. It's something that's in my brain, but I can't think of it. Because like, I've noticed that there's a lot of times where there's like an obscure movie and you will only ask J-Ban if they've seen it.
Yes.
And it's like,
I just kind of know that you probably have.
It's one of those things where it's like, I mean, you could ask me too, but also you've never been wrong.
I've never been wrong.
I have never seen any of those movies.
I will definitely start asking you. I will start asking. I don't mean to be condescending with it. it felt unlikely to me that you'd seen Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
It was the thing that I had thought of it like honestly many episodes back, and I was like, true, but he's right. Like it's not.
I don't mean to be condescending. That's
I don't think
rude.
it's condescending.
I don't either.
I think it's
so
honoring.
funny.
I
I
shouldn't
think
be
it's
presumptuous.
honoring the difference between us. I've seen more films than you.
Like, I'm going to ask
Easily.
you if you've played a game. Like, I'm going to go to you
Yeah.
first. It's like, oh, Justin, have you played this game? Like, I'm going to go to you first on that one. But yeah, no, this movie was a big hit. It was very, very expensive. It helped to bankrupt the studio, but it was a big hit. It made $250 million. And like I said, it would be the last like unambiguous hit of Stallone's career.
Sometimes you got to go down swinging.
You do, absolutely. And as far as the legacy of this movie goes, they tried to get a sequel off the ground for years. It was going to be called Cliffhanger 2, The Dam. It was greenlit in 1994. Stallone was coming back, but the project went into development hell after the studio went under, and then he tried to get it back on its feet in 2008. That didn't work. And then, finally, as of this year, there is going to be a new Cliffhanger movie. That script has now turned into a reboot, and it's going to star Lily James and Pierce Brosnan. And I don't know if Pierce Brosnan is playing the John Lithgow role.
Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan is too old to be climbing a mountain.
I don't know what his role is going to be, but young Lily James is now the lead of it. So, you know.
He's the rescue helicopter
I will say,
pilot.
I do enjoy a good mountain climbing movie. It's a niche genre, and there aren't many. I actually just watched a new Netflix movie called Apex with Charlize Theron that I actually quite enjoyed. It's good, like trashy, kind of like B-level fun, but lots of good rock climbing and mountain climbing in that one. It is incredibly cinematic. It looks really cool, and I think when this movie is really cooking, it's pretty thrilling.
Fun fact, Pierce Brosnan is 7 years younger now than John Lithgow is now. So
Wow. Okay. Crazy. But we don't know. He might
They're
not be
not that far
Lithgow.
apart.
He might be like a wise mentor character or something.
He played a good villain. I'd love
I think
to
so.
see
I've seen him do some
Brosnan
good villain stuff.
Yeah.
He would have fun. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get
Turns
into
out
kind of our thoughts on this movie.
He's kind of a good actor.
The other thing,
Hot take.
the other big legacy this movie has, and I think if most people know this movie at all and you haven't seen it, it's because you've seen Ace Ventura 2, When Nature Calls, the opening of which is a pretty dead-on parody of the opening of this movie.
We haven't even talked about the plot of this movie in any way.
The plot of this movie is insane. It's about it's about mountain climbers versus bank robbers stranded in the mountains.
I know what my favorite
Die Hard Anna.
Okay.
Con Air.
Con Air. Okay, Con Air's
Also
fun.
Die
Yeah,
Hard on a
yeah,
Plane.
yeah. That's a Die Hard on a plane, but a prison plane.
That's Die Hard on one plane. Air Force One is Die Hard on two planes.
Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box? Yeah. Oh, such a dumb movie.
I haven't seen Con Air.
It's
You've never seen Con
No.
Air?
It's gloriously stupid.
It's
it is
so
the
good.
dumbest thing in the
It's
universe.
So good. It's actually
Just
really-
character actor city. I have all crammed into a plane, and all of them have big outlandish characters, and they're all so stupid. It's great. But yeah, no, this movie's log line is very simple and very dumb. And I don't think it ever really rises above the stupidity of its idea. I say that kind of with affection and with admiration because I think this is a pretty exceptional dumb summer popcorn movie. I think the thrills are really genuinely thrilling. The stunts are incredible. The action's like pretty good.
I got anxiety a few different times, so
It's gory and it's broad and you're not going to be losing any brain cells here.
the
Or you are going to be
opening-
losing brain cells here.
The opening, I was like so strongly tempted to just like go forward a minute or two.
I genuinely think that opening is very successful. I don't know
think
where
the
you
movie. I think the opening is the most successful part of the movie. quite
Really
frankly.
good,
Yeah, like it's so dramatic. I think there are some silly things about it. Like she definitely isn't dressed to be on a mountain.
Not that high, no way.
Not that high. They're like, how did they get up there? Like, what is going on?
Also, they're talking about her like an amateur climber, and she's like on top of a pyre. Like it's insane how high they are. Yeah.
And the action is fully like. There's so many times where I was like, "He's dead."
Yeah.
He just fucking died.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of like Stallone jumping off of cliffs and like catching rocks and catching crags and pulling himself up at these impossible angles.
Stallone is running.
Yeah.
And he's being shot at from behind. And he just jumps and gets fucked up by a tree, 100 feet below him, and then just like brushes it off. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
he just jumped to his death.
Stallone said there was like a director's cut of this movie that had more elaborate stunts, and they said they didn't release that one because like it had him surviving like 300-foot falls and like doing crazy stuff like that, and it's just like it was just too much to ask people to get on board with.
When the helicopter fell and then just fucking exploded with a massive explosion, I was like, Jesus.
Well, okay, so like the opening of this movie, if people haven't seen it, is a rescue gone wrong, and it's a rescue of a very close friend of his, the fiance of Michael Rooker's character. They're trying to basically like zip line her from one crag to another so they can helicopter, and they're over this impossibly huge chasm, and she's scared, and the equipment fails, and she falls to her death, and it's like pretty harrowing and pretty scary, and I think both actors are playing it really well. It's melodramatic as hell, but it's like, man, I'm on board. And then it's like super hard cut the Treasury building, and we're getting bureaucrats in suits, we're getting money transferred, and like then we reveal that this is a bank heist movie with evil Rex Lynn, who if people don't know, that's Mr. Reba McEntire. But
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like fairly recently, actually. It's very cute. I think they've been dating for like 20 years or something, but married recently. But
I've never known his name.
He's a hey, it's that guy, classic. Just a
100%
bald actor with a big bushy mustache. He gets a lot to do with it. He's got a big part in this movie. He's a crooked FBI agent who is the inside man for the
Miami.
heist. I think a lot of, and that's when we meet the cartoonishly large Hans Gruber-esque villain played by John Lithgow,
doing wild accent work.
I'm glad they didn't give his character a mustache, because he'd be twirling it the entire damn movie. It's that kind of thing. He's got like this icy British girlfriend who like is helping him pull off the heist. He's got a gang of cronies, not like a huge gang, but like a gang of like 3 or 4 cronies. And they are planning to steal this money coming straight from the Treasury.
What was their plan? Because their plan is so shit.
Bearer bonds.
Crash a plane.
The plane crash was not intentional.
The plane was going to blow up. However, they were going to have all of the money ferried over to the plane. It's just that
there was that one agent who didn't die in the initial attack, and he got some good shots in. Yeah,
and because of a reason.
Do you double tap on a plane?
Dude, what? Do you double tap on a plane?
I think so.
to run off.
No, like Zombieland, double tap.
Double tap. But you're on a plane, so you might shoot through the plane.
I guess that makes sense.
So,
okay, I fully thought you were like. So I'm like, wait, are we talking about the game now?
If I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong, and I feel like I've talked to our friend Hop about this too. A bullet hole doesn't cause catastrophic damage to a plane.
Oh,
it's fine.
Good to know. Okay.
I mean, it's not like fine, but it's okay.
All right.
Like, you don't do it, but like also if you do it, the plane's not going to explode.
So this movie is a documentary. This is that. Yeah. It's that accurate. It's that accurate. No, but the plane goes down, the mission goes wrong, and they get stuck in the mountains. They radio for help, and Hal has to come up, and they also have to bring in Stallone, who is now retired and living in a little farm. And he has to come out of retirement to climb up these mountains and look for these guys. They immediately get captured.
He's only there because he came back for the girl.
Exactly.
And his stuff.
Played by Janine Turner, very cute. She was in Northern Exposure. That's kind of what she's popping off of.
The lack of sexual chemistry between the two leads. When the sexual chemistry between Stallone and Hal is off the charts.
Off the charts. I mean, Stallone is one of those guys kind of like Schwarzenegger and Tom Cruise, where they're just like, they never really convincingly have chemistry.
Except
with the romantic
Rocky.
Part. Rocky's the exception. And also a weird pull. I think Stallone has good chemistry with Penelope Ann Miller in Kindergarten Cop.
Oh, I agree.
Weird pull, but yeah, I think
agree.
he's actually, that's the closest he's ever been to being like very charming, in a romantic comedy way. But yeah, they're two kind of superhuman of figures. You know, they're so larger than life that it's kind of hard to get an actress that's like on the level of them. Like they always feel like they're on different planes, you know?
Well, like it's funny in Top Gun Maverick,
that's Air Force
Jennifer
One.
Connelly manages to have chemistry with
Yes.
Tom Cruise.
Because, you know,
she's a
he should be so
actor.
lucky. Yeah, he should bow down.
She's just imagining that it's her husband, Paul Bettany.
Yeah, God, lucky son of a bitch. Yeah. I remember reading an interview where he's like, I used to have my biggest childhood crush was Jennifer Connelly in the movie Labyrinth. And then he met her a couple years later at a party, and they've been married like close to 30 years now, I think, something like that. It's crazy.
23.
23, yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. Good for them. Either way, so Hal gets taken captive, and Stallone is being sent around the mountain to gather up all the lost suitcases full of money. Very video gamey.
It's super video gamey, and he doesn't gather up a single dollar. He like burns it, he explodes it. He's just like, he does whatever it takes to get like the stupidest thing you could do as like why didn't they just let them go? Like, why did they call them in? They could have done this all themselves and saved them all the trouble.
Well, they wanted the helicopter is what they were going after.
Well, and they're trying to do the thing with Stallone in this movie that that works for Bruce Willis and doesn't really work for Stallone and Schwarzenegger, which is like making him like the everyman.
Yeah.
Like Willis can play the everyman very convincingly. These guys are just so like they're so extreme in their bodies and in their personalities and their voices. Like you have a hard time believing they're just
How
like
tall is
around.
Bruce Willis?
He's like my height. He's like 5'10", 5'11".
He's like a pretty, and that's the thing is like when you look at Bruce Willis in those movies, Bruce Willis is like, oh, he is a strong average guy.
Yeah.
And you look at Sylvester Stallone and you go, that's a fucking mountain.
That's a guy who spends 6 hours a day in a gym, you know, like he just has this like bigger than personality. So it takes a little bit of a leap for you to get there, you know, when it works, you're not thinking about it. And when it doesn't work, you're thinking about it. And I think this movie never tries to establish that Gabe, which is his character's name, Gabe Walker, was it like a special ops or like military,
movie
right? They
also-
never do that.
They never do
He
that.
he's not like a bounty hunter or anything.
Outside of like the intro when he comes back, this movie really stays away from him having personality.
He doesn't really do a whole lot. This is not.
There's a lot of like running and action and very little like conversing
he has
and
conflict
banter.
with Hal because he accidentally like the accident with Hal's fiance.
Yeah.
But that's really kind of gone after like 2 scenes.
Yeah, I know that it does disappear really quickly. They're like, oh, now we're friends.
Yeah, well, you know, he saved him from a bunch of bank robbers on a mountain, you know? They got to be homies after that. Like, what can you do? Like, everything's forgotten. Yeah, it's... the parts where this movie is really cooking are when, like... there's climbing sequences. I think those are always compelling and really cool, especially like the bouldering ones.
Like the
without
intro to
ropes.
Mission Impossible.
Can I say
2.
something that really pisses me off?
Yeah.
About the Wikipedia article. It's like, so the first line of the plot is Sylvester Stallone and his girlfriend. I'm like, Sylvester Stallone and his girlfriend, the helicopter pilot. I was like running. I was
Yeah,
wondering,
give her a
like, I need to
characteristic.
break out my Wikipedia editing ID and edit that because she is a helicopter pilot and a rescuer in her own right. God damn it.
And she has a name, probably.
Probably.
I don't remember it.
I don't remember it either.
But she has a name.
Probably.
Jessie. Her name's Jessie.
Or-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Mountain Rescue Rangers Gabe Walker, his girlfriend Jessie Deegan, and Frank.
Good old Frank. Good old Frank.
The only
whole
person
band.
who gets like an occupation listed.
And he's an abstract artist in the I mean, come on. And everybody talks so lovingly about Frank from like the moment one you're just like, oh, Frank gonna die.
Frank gonna die.
Frank doomed.
Oh, absolutely.
He's absolutely gonna get killed in this movie.
He's a nice older man. He is doomed to die.
Everybody loves him. He's the innocent being sacrificed. Yep. No, but yeah, when this movie's really cooking, it's
true
the
love.
climbing sequences, and it's in a couple of the set pieces. Like, And I do say set pieces because when this transitions to sets, they're very obviously sets.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
the frozen lake or like some of the caves or things like that. Like I've forgotten how kind of like transparently artificial they look compared to all the other like truly amazing like aerial photography that they do in this movie. So it cheapens it a little bit. I love any movie that gives you like a handful of goons that each have like one characteristic, like just enough to know like, oh, this guy's going to be good in a knife fight, or this guy's going to be like taunting you, or this guy's British. You know, like they all get like one little characteristic so you can tell them apart, and then you get to watch them get picked off one by one.
There's also this other thing that I love. There's that homoerotic subtext of they keep throwing these men at
literally which
men at
one
him,
in
and
this movie?
and they keep making him remove his clothes because he's like he's on a mountain and he's supposed to be doing a job for us, so let's remove his clothes.
You got to see those sick abs, bro.
It's also there's a few absurd things that happen in this movie.
One or two.
Like near the end, Mr. John Lithgow is like flying his Helima chopper, and I think the only option he has left is like I'm getting out of here. But then he sees the girl Jessie,
Yes.
and is like, "Fuck it, I'm kidnapping this woman from a helicopter.
Yeah.
I am holding her at gunpoint from 400 feet." And I guess it cuts away, and then it's like, oh, he's got her.
Yeah.
And it's like, she didn't run?
She didn't run. But also, he kills his girlfriend at like the drop of a hat, like for no reason. There's like no reason to kill his girlfriend.
Well, that's a
He's
fun moment. So
ruthless.
really, there's a tension between the villains the whole time, between John Lithgow and Rex Lynn, where like they both kind of need each other to get this heist done, but they don't trust each other. So there's like this constant like back and forth, and to level the playing field, John Lithgow murders his girlfriend, who's the only one who can fly the helicopter
Besides
himself. And so it's one of those like kind of ice cold moments where you're like, oh yeah, this guy's a bad guy. It's deeply silly.
It's
And
stupid as fuck.
To cap it all off, what good movie doesn't end with one man versus a helicopter?
Exactly. No, exactly
I have to
right.
say, that is probably like that is a super 90s thing, the man versus helicopter.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible 1. Yeah, absolutely. A man fights a helicopter.
And
I think that sequence rips. I think it's so fun.
God, there's more. Let me try to think of other ones. God, oh no, I can't think of them. I'm hopefully somebody on Reddit made this list for
Ultimate
me.
helicopter list. I know a helicopter gets destroyed in Independence Day, but I don't know that yet.
Live Free or Die Hard, he drives a car into a helicopter.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But either way, like I think this movie succeeds in having such
I think
a
the last Die Hard movie has Bruce Willis go up against a helicopter too.
I don't know. But I think this movie succeeds in maintaining a breakneck pace that just sort of never really relents. Like when I watch this movie, like if you're watching it critically, yeah, obviously it's not going to hold up to anything. But if you're just kind of like along for the ride, it's pretty relentless. It's nonstop. It's exciting, and it's satisfying enough in its big stunts that you kind of like forgive some of the hokiness of the interior scenes.
So it's also in Rambo Part 2.
It's a Stallone thing. Oh my god.
Oh, The Matrix.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Matrix had a good one. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
There is a helicopter in Die Hard that they blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there's a
with
lot
the two
of man
detectives in it.
versus helicopter.
There is. It's a thing.
Super 90s thing.
Captain America: Winter Soldier. Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
Well, maybe it's not just in the 90s. Maybe it's eternal.
I mean, it's a flying tank that has blades.
It's not a tank. Helicopters are really liable to
Fragile.
explode at the lightest breeze.
Well, that's terrible because they're in the breeze all the time.
I know.
But
They're in the
really-
air. They're generating breeze.
They are very dangerous. Like if you you should only be in a helicopter if you absolutely have to.
Fine. I'll not blade everywhere. Is blade still a service?
No, I don't think.
It was real. It happened in New York, I think, but I don't know if it happened anywhere else. Yeah, either way, Blade was the Uber for helicopters. Either way, that'd be pretty cool. I think we can move on. I think this movie is.
Wait. We need
just
to talk
real
about
dumb
our
fun.
opinions.
Oh yeah, please.
So, Justin, what is your opinion on this movie? What do you think about it? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's entertaining?
If we're comparing to Die Hard, I don't think it's a great movie. But if we're comparing to like Transformers and like Michael Bay, I'm like, this is fun. I thought it was a good time. There were multiple times I was like, what? But otherwise, I thought it was fun, but not incredible.
See, I have a real hard time with this movie because I remember really liking it as a child, and like really being like, "Oh my gosh, this is so thrilling!" And it set the seed for my like teenage passion for mountain climbing books. But like on the rewatch, I'm just like, there's so many plot holes, but the plot holes are held together by really great stunts.
Yeah.
And like really great. Like I really love like. Mountains are super pretty. There's a reason why people like them. So yeah, like I'm really conflicted. But yeah, we should talk about the video game.
Yeah, I think we can move on and talk about those games because I think these are among some of the bigger fumbles that we've covered on this show because I think this movie is essentially a live-action video game. This is a platforming movie with ice levels and fighting segments and literal bags of money hidden around the level. There's a lot of very, very video gamey touches to this movie. And so I feel like the roadmap was right there for a very good game, and they did not stumble upon it. So Cliffhanger, the game, came out in October of 93. They were developed by Spidersoft and Malibu Interactive, published by Sony ImageSoft. And this exists on the NES, the Super NES, the Genesis, the Sega CD, the Game Boy, the Game Gear, and the Amiga. And Sony ImageSoft, I think, is going to be among our lesser tier video game developers. We've only seen them once so far with Bram Stoker's Dracula, but they're going to be coming up a few other times. That's a very weird game. This is a classic example of a game that looks fun and really is. Like if you were just watching a video of this, you would think this game kind of rips, and the experience of playing it is really what's going to kind of make the difference. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're completely right. When we were watching the video, and I was like, "Oh, this looks like fun," and then when I started playing it, I was like, OMG, this is so shitty. Like, there's a real difference in the range of like the villains versus your range. So you're like constantly getting murdered, and it's just like it's not interesting.
It's a extremely standard side-scrolling beat-em-up game where you are just taking on waves and waves of identical-looking enemies by punching and kicking and doing a jump punch or a jump kick. And occasionally you can pick up a weapon and throw it at them. Eventually you'll get a gun, and you can shoot at things. But that's most of what you're dealing with. There are intermittent climbing segments that are perfunctory at best. I mean, you climb up a small section of mountain, and there are usually guys stationed around at various crags, like shooting sniper rifles at you. And you just have to hold your body in a very specific position and wait for them to stop shooting. So very standard. There's some avalanche sequences that are just kind of like whatever. It's just like being chased downhill, and then it's just back to scrolling and punching. And that all might sound okay on paper, and it looks fun like when you're playing it, but there's a stiffness and a lack of responsiveness to these controls that you really like. That can't really be described in a video. Like, I imagine a lot of these videos are using emulators that polish up the controls a little bit. Were you having that experience with the Super NES, Justin?
Yeah,
it's entirely possible I'm just bad at this game.
It was well intentioned, but it was just frustrating because there was so many little things. Like, one, every enemy could reach further than you could, and two, when you hit them, they would like bounce away from you and then have like they'd flash and be invincible, and then they would start attacking you before they became attackable again, which just meant that you were just punching and then backing up, punching and then backing up. And it was like very weirdly Dark Souls-y for something that was not that smart.
Right. Yeah. We also played a little bit of the NES game.
Which was wild.
Which is more of a platformer. It's much more low res, as you might expect, and it's a little green shirted Sylvester Stallone, very skinny, nerdy looking.
Still showing
figure.
the guns though.
Still showing the guns. And it's a side-scrolling platformer, and most of the enemies that you encounter early in the game are wolves and hawks.
Oh, before we get on to, sorry, I should have talked about this video game. The video game and the movie do have a really fun score.
It's a good score.
And the video game, the 8-bitification of the score is really fun, and it's really fun to listen to.
Well, it's a very, made for trailers kind of score. It's one of those things. I don't know if I've heard this one used a lot in trailers, but it easily could be. And there are fun little digital renditions of this soundtrack, which is Trevor Jones is the guy who did the score.
Yeah, who did the score for The Labyrinth.
Yeah, see, exactly.
See,
what band was he? He was in a band, I think.
Keep talking about how hot Jennifer Connelly has made perfect sense.
Well, I mean, I'm never upset to have you talk about how hot Jennifer Connelly is because I'm right there. Oh, he also did Last of the Mohicans and Dark City. He's a good composer. Yeah, but yeah, the game tries to do a little rendition of that, but the NES game is a little bit more in the spirit of kind of what I think this movie is because again, part of the appeal of the movie is that there's a very small handful of goons and not waves and waves and waves of them. But this one is, I think it's better suited for a side-scrolling platformer, and once again, it's a game that looks like it could be kind of fun. And then you try and play it, and you're trying to parse out these really bizarre controls that just don't really make sense. We kind of got to an early rope bridge that we could just never really cross, and I think all of us were just sort of yeah, no, I'm good. This is not worth figuring out the weird precise
so many
timing on
times
this.
to cross the stupid rope bridge.
It was really stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't really connect. I played a little bit of the Game Boy game. It's pretty much identical to the NES game, except just fewer colors, Nothing that impressive. Way to fumble the bag here, Cliffhanger. I mean, come on. This could be a very fun, dumb arcade action game, and they gave us something that just looks boring, feels boring, plays boring. Not a hit for me. I think we can safely move on. We can stop keeping people in suspense and give our rankings on Cliffhanger. Is this a good movie, good game, bad movie, bad game, or somewhere in between? I'll kick us off. I enjoy this movie. I check in with it every couple of years, and I'm just you know what? This works for the very limited scope of what it's trying to achieve. The seams are there. It's extremely stupid, but it's got enough incredible stuff that I think it's worth a watch. And these games are terrible. Yeah, they bungled it. What can I say? J-Ban, how about you?
I think this is an okay movie with excellent stunts.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the games are functional but generally bad.
Yeah. Justin, how about you?
Yeah, I think it's a fun movie, and I think I agree on the functional but bad games.
I would disagree on functional. I find this so unpleasant to play.
The SNES game is functional. The NES game is less so.
Yeah. Well, that concludes our episode on Cliffhanger. Don't worry, we will be checking back in with Stallone multiple more times over the course of our show, charting that career in its many fascinating, weird little detours. And speaking of a career with many fascinating, weird little detours, next week we are going to be kicking off a little kind of cobbled together mini-series that I'm very excited to be getting into. Next week, we are starting a 3-movie franchise about the Looney Tunes. And that means we are starting with nothing else but 1996's Space Jam. All right, so the franchise is going to go like this. We're going to talk about the 2 Space Jam movies. That's Space Jam and Space Jam: A New Legacy. And then as a little palate cleanser / aperitif, whatever, dessert, we're going to be talking about Looney Tunes Back in Action from 2003. Yes, there is a game for that. I'm very excited. We're going to be talking about sports, which is something we really don't talk about much on this show. We're going to be talking about animation history. There's going to be a fucking lot to go into with Space Jam, of all things. I'm excited to get into it, and I do believe I can fly. I do. I really do. Yeah. All right, everybody. Well, we will see you next week for Space Jam. Everybody get up now.